Dude, what is the deal today? What is the deal today? So many problems. What happened? Did the video just cut out, or was it just frozen, or what happened, you guys? Because hold on, let me see if I can add Joe again. So weird. So many technical issues today. That was so weird. It said it was, we paused. Could you hear what we were saying? Because if you couldn't hear what we were saying, how dumb. We just suddenly started talking by ourselves. Oh my God. Here we go with the technical issues again. Oh, there we go. Okay, let's see if it connects.
My dude! Did anybody hear that story?
Oh my God. I'm not sure. We couldn't. Oh, wow.
We were like just having another one of our FaceTimes then. Okay, so pick it up from where you left off. You're saying the theme is if you want to reach out to somebody, it's important that you have your own material because good and interesting and talented people are busy. And they're not going to take time to like give you all of their knowledge unless there's like a mutual exchange of respect. And so the fact that you had created, I had created, it was like, oh shoot, like let's be friends.
Yeah, 100%. And that's why when I look back, when I think about the message that I sent to David Galb, just to fill anybody who missed this part, he was the guy who directed Chef's Table. It's a show on Netflix, huge inspiration for me. I've mentioned it before. I sent him this message, but with zero and nothing to be able to show for my work,
So he never got back to you?
No, of course not. Like, it might as well have been just, a bot or whatever. It was very I didn't understand that, I think. I was just like, I'm going to go for it. And it's good to go for it, but it's also good to go for it with a little bit of context. You know what I mean?
Well, what I love so much about you is that, first of all, like you're like a new kid on the block as far as like my YouTube journey is concerned. Like, you're freshie, but you've grown so much. And right now, like, we talk all the time about how I'm taking my new content because I'm rebuilding, and it's cool to hear your stories from like these pre-Nathaniel Drew blowing up stages that you also faced the struggle of like not quite finding the right content, not quite finding your rhythm, and now you're like a machine. So what do you think clicked for you to finally turn on I'm going to commit fully into my creativity and not think about any other distractions? Like, what changed for you?
Yeah, it's a good question. Well, gosh, there's so much backstory here, but I think like I created videos consistently for a couple of years, and due to a series of life events, I guess, I spent some time in Argentina, and then that was kind of a rough period. I came back to the US and I was like, man, I'm not really proud of what I'm making, So I took this long pause, like a year plus pause, where I just focused on working in the industry and becoming a better, storyteller, filmmaker, or whatever.
Wait, so you started your channel, thought you created trash, you didn't like what you were creating, stopped, committed to actually working as a filmmaker.
Yeah.
With the intention to go back to YouTube?
I don't know. I didn't know. I was just feeling super confused and lost, honestly. Like so many people, man. I know it doesn't seem like it because now it's like, whoa, you're putting out all this, all these videos and your channel's growing. Like, you clearly know what you're doing. Like, no, dude. I was so lost, and there are still moments where I'm like, what am I doing? But definitely, I think, I had to take that long break, and, but there was, at the same time, there's this part of me that I think you could probably connect to, which is that, you can't not post stuff, not put shit out there on the internet right now. It's this incredible, still super new thing that allows you to do all these things, connect with all these people that you couldn't do that before, and to not take advantage of that in some way. It doesn't have to be videos on YouTube. It doesn't have to be any specific thing. It could be music, it could be writing, it could be photography, whatever. but to not do anything, to not post anything out there, just feels like this huge missed opportunity.
Which then creates anxiety, which then builds up this pressure, and then it
Oh yeah,
creates this paralysis by analysis, and it's just like not exactly a good mental health place to be in.
word.
So I
Yeah,
think the conclusion is like, remember, it's not that deep. Like
yeah,
at the end of the day, we're not curing cancer,
yeah,
but it is a missed opportunity. I agree with you. And I mean, we talk about this a lot where like I have both experiences now. Like I've had a full-time career on YouTube. Like I've worked for myself for a decade. My paychecks come in addressed to my own company. Like that is pretty badass. And now I'm on the other side of the coin where I'm working on a traditional format show, like with the production company and with the network. And it's like, for a lot of the creators out there, that's their main goal. The
yeah,
goal is like, I want to get a show on a network.
yeah.
But as somebody who's had both experiences, and again, like the book will come out in a few years, you know, like, I'll give you the details then. But what I can say, and me and Nate talk about this a lot, is like he's surprised because I have that peek into the traditional world, and I still get so excited about putting stuff on YouTube.
Yeah.
Because there's something so liberating about being able to create whatever you want, and then the connection aspect of it, like you're growing your audience. Because for instance, on this traditional show I'm working on, like the production quality is incredible. It's going to be beautiful scenery, and it's going to be like this epic show. But the conversation that I can have on YouTube is so unique, and that's not going to happen on a traditional platform.
Yeah.
Like I'm not going to get real-time communication with the people that are supporting me and like allowing me to sustain this life that I so love.
And also, I mean, again, it's like, you know, you can connect with people by simply putting shit out there that's, you know, YouTube videos. Like there's no barrier of entry there. Like, you know what I mean? Like you don't have to be on Netflix or on, you know, whatever, like, you know, any like traditional media to be out there and connecting with people. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. How do you feel about your YouTube career now that you're like fully blown into it?
it's so weird, man. It's so strange. It's like, it's so weird. It's so weird. It's so weird that I make money this way. And it's so weird that people tune in to watch. Like, and I'm not saying this to be like self-deprecating and relatable. I'm like legitimately not that interesting, man. Like so much of my life.
What? Shut up.
There's so much of my day-to-day life that's boring. It's so boring. So boring
Maybe
it hurts.
the food choices that you make, yes, like that split pea soup from the can, that is boring as fuck.
But I mean that not in like a, you know, I hate my life sort of way. Like I really enjoy my life, right? And I try to be as grateful as possible. It's just that like it wouldn't translate into cool video content or whatever. Like there's a reason I only put out like 10 or 15 minutes worth of material per week maximum, you know? So it's just strange. It's very strange. And it's also strange, I think, to become a concept that people talk about, like in the third person, you know?
What do you
Like,
mean? Like, oh, did you see Nathaniel Drew's videos?
yeah, like what? Like, and also mentioning me like in other places on the internet that, you know, I don't know about or whatever. And it's just kind of, it's bizarre. It's honestly bizarre. And, I'm just essentially not used to it. Like, how do you feel about things
About
after
like
so
having,
long? After like a decade,
after
basically.
a decade of like getting paid by my own checks. I feel like there's a sense that it'll never change, like in the weirdest way, like the fight, because you know in any creator's life there's that moment of fight or flight. Like you have to produce extreme amount of content and it needs to succeed, because if you don't get those views you won't get paid. And so it's like that hunger. I think
That's
that
so
hunger,
tricky though. It's like, you know,
it
it's
doesn't
like,
go away. And like as somebody who's done this for 10 years, I can tell you it doesn't go away. Like every time you post a video you still want it to succeed. Before you post a video you're still worried if it's going to succeed. Like the anxiety and like the care personally that I've always had has never gone away.
yeah, like me right now with lighting, I'm trying to figure out how to make myself look a little.
Such a little filmmaker. I also think that what's cool about the internet is that it gives you the opportunity to like reinvent yourself. You know, like right now, like 10 years ago, I was 18 and I was making videos like backpacking Europe, like full of zits and like missing trains and like sleeping in parks. And that is so different from my life now. Like I'm still traveling, but it's in a different way.
Yeah.
And I can't possibly keep making that content.
Yeah.
because that's just not my life. And so with the internet, it's painful, but it works. It's like you prune your audience. And like right now, you kind of did that. We talk about how that happened to you. Like you were making these videos and they were doing well, but you didn't like what they were. And so you have to shift
No,
perspective.
for the record, they weren't doing well. I was getting nowhere.
Yeah, and like you had to create this consistency and get that new audience, and that's going to happen again. And that's what I know now is like it will continue to happen. Like we will continue to have to reinvent ourselves.
Yeah.
And it's dope because like a lot of my favorite people that I know now are from the internet. Like we haven't even met in person yet, but I consider you one of my close friends.
It's so strange. Yeah. I mean, it's also, and by the way, I want to also like give people watching this a chance to ask questions and whatnot, because I think it'd be cool to like answer stuff together if you're down for that.
Yeah.
But I do think I was so like against the idea in a way of meeting people on the internet, because I'm like, that's lame. Like I don't know. I had this dumb idea, like I still want to cross people on the street or something, and that's how I meet people or whatever. But the problem is because I didn't, do the kind of the whole college track, and I think going to school is an amazing way to meet people. You have to find other ways to connect with people, or else it's just, it's a challenge.
But now you're pleasantly surprised because we're best friends.
So
All
wait,
right.
so you're in
New York.
you New York, yeah. So
I'm in New York. You're in Paris. I'll come to Paris and visit you when confinement est terminé.
Yeah. Hey, May 11th, man. That's in two-ish weeks. Is when it starts, supposedly. I'm a little bit not so sure. We'll see. We'll see how things go.
Well, we'll hang out, and I'll bring a bottle of wine, and we'll do another Instagram live in the same place.
Word. Yeah, I'd be down. Can you imagine? Yo, man, that'd be super dope. Yeah. Wow. That'd be super cool.
Fantasizing about in-person hangouts.
I really am. It's so dumb. Like, I sound like a dumbass, but it really is just like, wow. It really gives you this appreciation of like just hanging out with people in person. There's so much. Like, okay, we're connecting right now. It's cool, but you get the energy of a person when you're in the same room. This is gonna sound weird. Everybody's gonna misinterpret this, but like, you get a sense of like what they like look like in person, what they smell like, what they're interested in, what they're looking at. Like, you know what I mean?
It's true.
Like,
Yeah. You just miss
you
like
can touch
small...
them. Touch is so important. Touch is
you
important.
just want to touch people. That's like all that I've been hearing.
So what are the there's like 5 love languages, right?
Yeah, it's like physical touch, words of affirmation, acts of service, gifts, gift giving, quality time.
Okay.
Wow.
Oh, wow, you know them, damn. And I was thinking like, oh man, like you can have multiple, right?
Yeah, you can. So usually you have like a top 2 and then like a third straggler. I'm physical touch and words of affirmation. Quality time is third.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. I don't know what mine are, but I think touch is also part of that. And I think
physical, yeah, like you got to touch people clearly. It's your Latin blood, I think.
Yeah, for sure. And I was just thinking like people going through this quarantine that have like the touch as one of their main love languages. Damn, it's rough,
Struggling out here.
I'm struggling.
It's dry. It's dry. I need help.
So what do you guys, I wanna let's get your involvement in this. Like, what do you guys think of this whole, do you believe in the love language? No, that's a dumb question. Everybody does. Does anybody not believe in that? I'd be curious. But
did you know that that's actually like a Christian thing, but like you don't need to be religious to follow it?
Wow,
like if you go on the website, there's like a lot of like Christian stuff.
No way.
Just a little disclaimer, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Dang, okay.
Do you see the question feature on your side? Because I can't see it.
Oh, yeah, I do. Oh, dang, okay.
Grandpa Nate.
I know. Hold on. Okay, I can read some of them.
Yeah, do it.
Let's see. Oh, we got I wish, okay, there'll also be questions in the, popping up in the comments too, so that you could read some of them too, so it's not so one-sided here.
Okay, you take a first question and then I'll find one.
What advice do you give to someone, for someone who wants to start photography education videos? What would you say on that?
To start making photography education videos or to start learning about photography?
To start photography education videos. I'm going to interpret that as making them.
So what I love is what you say to me all the time. You're like, make it an experience. You say that to me. Because I'm like, I don't want to. And you're like, don't make it an experience. I'm like, oh, God, he's right. Like, come on.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think
100%.
anytime you want to make a video that you're proud of, because if you are making videos, like, you should be able to be proud of them. You know in your gut, if you're avoiding sharing that link with people, it means that you didn't put your all into it, which is just a sign that you need to go back to the drawing board and do something more creative
Yeah.
for you. But yeah, I would just say, like, make an experience out of it. Like, what do you feel when you pick up the camera and why?
Yeah.
Like,
It's
always
such
have
a
the
good, yeah.
why.
I mean, you're basically just taking what I say to you, but I totally agree. Like, so yeah, that's so important to me. I think the role of art is so incredibly important. You're creating art, even if it doesn't seem like it. Okay, even if you're like, it's just photography education videos. No, no. Think of it as a piece, as an experience you're giving people, not just a video. I don't care if that sounds pretentious. Be an artist. Like, do something that you're going to be able to look back on 10 years from now and be like, you know what? Things have changed, but I was living it up. I was going for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So here, hold on. I'm so dark. I hate, there we go.
Okay, the thing about Nate is, like, if you just call him on FaceTime, like, he will break out lights. Like, he'll break out lights.
I just can't. I can't. I mean, look, the quality's already low enough with Instagram, man. Like, yo, gotta be mindful.
Okay,
All right.
somebody asked, how do you
Yes.
become a polyglot? And I love
Oh,
this question. Your
yes.
girl's been a polyglot for years. So I was born in Brazil, so I speak Portuguese natively. Moved to the States at 5, learned to speak English. Avoided learning Spanish for some reason. I had, like, this thing that I was like, I don't want to learn Spanish. So that's funny, because that was your second
And
language, right?
racist against me and my
It's no,
people.
it's not racist. It's
Yeah,
because I
I'm
thought it
not
would be
sure
too easy.
I'm not sure I'm liking the values that you represent here. What do you have
Listen,
against Spanish?
okay, don't do this. Don't turn it on me like that. No, it's because I knew that I could understand Spanish, and I, like, wanted to give my brain a challenge. So I was like, oh, let me try to learn French. So then I learned French, and then I learned Italian, and then I learned Spanish. So then that's been a consistent thing. And Nate, what about you? What's the language journey?
So, so I'll give a quick rundown, and then, like, I'll answer that question. It's a really good question. So so technically the first language I ever spoke was Spanish. But I completely lost it because my parents are both bilingual and they were working in English, and I was going to school in English, and they didn't want to force the Spanish speaking. So I lost it completely. So for that reason, I consider English my first language.
However, my mom was a French teacher when I was a baby, and she taught me French before I learned Portuguese. And so when I started learning French, I was like, why is this so easy for me? She's like, oh, yeah, like, I used to teach you French. So I think that
it
there is
does. It does.
something.
There's research that shows that it's there. The information stays somewhere in your brain.
Right.
Um,
So Spanish, English, then.
well, so English really, and then French because of an exchange in France, and then
What?
Spanish.
How old were you?
16.
You're one of those lucky ass kids. See, I was a broke girl. Like, family was not
Yo,
supportive
whoa,
of
whoa, whoa,
young
whoa, 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 whoa,
travel.
whoa, 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 whoa. Hold on. Yes, very lucky, very lucky. But I was out there hustling in high school because I was like, I can't stay in this American high school system. Like, I can't do this. And I also did not have the money to do an expensive, exchange program. My parents didn't have the means either to make that happen either. So do you know what Rotary is?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So they sponsor, and it's actually, it ends up being incredibly cheap to go for a year if they select you. So you have to kind of hustle and make that happen. But that's how that happened, really.
That's super dope, though. That changes everything.
Yeah, for sure. So anyway, so to answer the question, I would just say when if you're interested in learning a bunch of languages, it's like, it feels like a mountain to learn even just one language, much less, a whole series of languages, right? That's like the whole Himalayan mountain range right there. And, I think it's really just a case of you tackle one thing at a time, and it's sort of, you get the ball rolling, and I think it becomes easier because you understand what it takes to learn a new language each time, what you need to prioritize, the confidence to approach people. Like, I honestly think that's my best answer, because if you ask me, oh, you'll be able to converse in several languages at this point in my life, I'd be like, really? If you asked me a few years ago, it would have been like kind of improbable because, you know, it seems impossible. It seems really, really hard, and it's not. It's really not.
I think what you said, to take it day by day, is the perfect way to do it. And I'm a believer in immersing yourself even if you're not in the place. The obvious way to learn a language is to go to the place where it's spoken, and like you're thrown in there in the deep end.
Mm.
And it does change more than just your ability to speak languages. I think it changes your confidence. I think it changes your willingness to take risks, because when you're learning languages, you're consistently making mistakes and looking like an asshole. And it makes it okay.
That's so true.
Right?
You look like such a dumbass sometimes.
You look like an asshole.
I still do. I still sound like such a dummy.
Dumb ass. Like, everybody who learns languages sounds like that, and you just become okay.
Yeah,
your tolerance for making mistakes and everything becomes higher, because you're like, I know that if I don't make this mistake, I won't learn this. And so it's like a survival thing.
So true.
And then it changes and evolves your confidence over time.
And you know, like, okay, so again, so going, you know, a little bit full circle here, back to one of the things we were talking about earlier. There's this, you know, we were talking about mutual respect, right, and like putting content out there. There's also like your mindset and sort of a view on these things that makes it so easy for us to connect. Like, there's so many people that don't understand the experience of learning another language, of like how that can change things for you. And it's not just like learning a list of words or whatever, studying it in school. Like, it's for me, it's always about connecting with people. That's so cliche, but it's so true. I mean, it's for connecting with people. And if you're doing it for any other reason, I think you're starting to get off base. Because at the end of the day, it's like, without people, why have any languages, right?
Right.
And so, anyway, I'm just saying that, like, when I hear you talk about it, I'm like, yes, you know, amen. Like, I totally agree on so many of these points. So, I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with that thought, but just wanted to throw that in there.
But it's also like a never-ending journey. A lot of times when people ask me how many languages I speak, I'm like, I speak 5 fluently, but I speak 6 on a good day.
And sliding on all of them at the same time, right?
That's what I'm saying. And that's the caveat, that it's not this black and white thing. It's not like, oh yeah, I speak 5 languages and I never make mistakes in any of them. It's like, no, my Spanish sucks right now. If somebody's like, Joe speaks Spanish, I'll be like, estoy parlando español. Like, I literally wouldn't know if I'm speaking Italian or Spanish. And that's just the way it's always going to be. So like, you don't need to have started 10 years ago. It's like a journey forever. And like, I encourage it so much, just because it changes how you see the world.
How do you learn 5 languages? Yo, okay, I have a video coming out really soon here. I'm doing a series on my experience learning Portuguese. I lay it all out, okay? So and you totally can do it for $0, okay? The internet is a beautiful thing. So, and you also have content on learning languages. So, you know, I'd say go check out Joe's channel.
Yeah, I'm going to start making more videos like that too. Because again, like, us making videos helps us keep up with the languages. Oh, yeah. We were speaking in French and you were like, wait, why do you speak French like that? And I'm like, because I made videos in French every Friday for a year.
Yeah. I mean, I had a French channel. I don't know if you knew that, but.
You did?
Yeah. It still exists. It's called Dans mes binocles.
Wow.
Yeah. And, you know, like, there's also cringe on there too for me, but. You know, it's like, you got to put shit out there. You got to. And doing that, and then having people comment, and you're reading their French comments and whatnot. Like,
you know how I learned Portuguese? Because I grew up speaking English. Obviously, like, I left Brazil when I was 5.
Did you speak with your mom at all? Your mom?
No. Right? So, like, many immigrants, and your parents probably did similar, where, like, you go to the States and you just completely become American as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
So when we moved to the States, like, obviously nobody spoke English. And because I was younger and like an eager beaver, I learned English first. And my mom wanted to learn because she needed to speak English. So then she stopped speaking Portuguese to us. So over the years, like from age 5 until 17, I didn't speak Portuguese. I had no connection to Brazil. Like, I hadn't gone back at all.
This is almost exactly parallel. I mean, same with me at the age of, I think it was like 4 or 5 when I started going to school, essentially, you know, preschool and whatnot. I totally lost it. Yeah. So.
And then you become embarrassed. and then you're like, oh my
Oh
God, I
my
can't stand
God.
this language. Like, this is horrible. They make fun of my accent.
Not just
Then,
that, not just that. You also feel this crazy, weird identity crisis because you're like, you know, in your case, Brazilian, but for me, it's like, I come from an Argentinian family, but how the hell can I say I'm Argentinian if I can't say anything in Spanish, you know?
exactly.
I'm not at all, really.
And
Um,
so what was
so,
wild for me was like, at the time, I was so not confident with my Portuguese, and I started teaching Damon on Damon and Joe, the channel, how to speak Portuguese, but I didn't know how to speak it properly.
yeah, so,
And we would post these videos. No, here's the worst part. We'd post these videos with me making horrendous mistakes that I didn't know I was making, because he's like, oh, Joe, teach me Portuguese. And I'm like, okay, here's what I know. And all of the comments from Brazilians, and we know Brazilians are engaged. So everybody was like, that girl sucks. She doesn't speak Portuguese. And I had to look that in the face and be like, I'm going to keep doing it. Like,
that's
okay.
amazing. Okay, so I gotta tell you this. I looked up just yesterday. Okay, so for anybody who just tuned in, I started learning Portuguese 2 days ago.
And all
I
he knows
looked,
how to say is, a gente.
no, well, yeah, that was, well, a little, hopefully a little bit more by this point because I've been trying to memorize vocab. But I was like, how do you say? I gotta learn how to say dude. You know, that's a super important one. So I legitimately looked up on Google, okay, how to say dude in Portuguese. Your video popped up. You're explaining to Damon, you know, there's like a shitload of different ways to say it apparently in Brazil. But I'm reading the comments and people are like kind of correcting you in certain, you know, in certain spots because
And that's
you
how
have
I
a lot of
learned.
good shit already, but there's also you're making kind of mistakes here and there, subtle mistakes, but you're making mistakes. But that's how I'm sure you read those, and that helped you to further kind of perfect your Portuguese. So I wasn't sure whether to tell you that story because I was like, maybe
Oh,
Joe
trust
doesn't
me,
know how
I
to speak.
know. And that's the thing, I guess it goes back to the willingness to be able to make mistakes. Like when you're making videos in
Amen.
foreign languages, it's even more amplified because I know everybody who's tried to speak a language, they've had that conversation with one or two people in French and their French kind of sucks and they get corrected and they feel embarrassed. Now put that on the internet and open the doors to the nation to criticize you. That is what I go through. That's what you go through. Like
Yeah.
that's and you could take it as a learning opportunity to be like, all right, y'all, I'm gonna not make those mistakes ever again.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Okay, so hold on. I want to see if we can answer any more questions. I have so many. Do I select one?
Yeah, yeah. Grab a question.
Um, okay. Let me see. Okay, this might be interesting. I'm curious. It's related to what we're talking about already. How do you not get discouraged from making art? It's a good one.
How do you not get discouraged?
Yeah, because I think there's so many pitfalls. I saw you posting stuff, and I made a video on it recently about perfectionism. Um, I think oftentimes you can feel overwhelmed with how much stuff's already out there. You know, like what do I
Right.
have to add? What are your thoughts?
Well, I think it goes back to what are you going to be proud of, right? Like, and this is a journey I'm on now because I started a new channel and I'm thinking like, what do I even want to talk about? Like, how do I want to present my ideas? And there are some videos on my channel that I'm like, yikes, I might unlist that. Like the cringy, because there's a way to create things that's like quick and dirty, and that has its purpose. But if you really want to make art, you just got to check in with yourself and be like, what am I going to look back at and be proud of for making? I think that's the only answer that I have. Because I can tell you like, oh yeah, I have a video that I'm really proud of on my channel. And I want to aspire to create that independent of the views, independent of the feedback, because I like it.
Yeah, that's a great answer.
What do you think?
I would definitely say, at the end of the day, everybody, and it's you know, it doesn't feel like it, but everybody has a unique experience to draw from and to like share with the world. Essentially, nobody in the world has the exact same combination of past memories, past conversations, social network, and I mean this both like online but also like in person. The people that you know, the people that you've spent time with. Um, Essentially the ensemble of all the experiences and thoughts and literally everything that has just made you who you are. To think that you have nothing to contribute is so unfortunately incredibly wrong. It's so off base. Because
Absolutely.
and this is I don't want to make this like more cliche than it is really, but it is pretty incredible that any one of us exist at all. If you think about like the microorganisms that aren't, I mean, are they part of us or are they not part of us? All the bacteria, the trillions of cells that make us who we are, it's kind of insane. It's like you can't even really comprehend it. And so whenever I'm like, God, maybe I should just, I don't know, maybe I have nothing to
Like, that's
say.
it.
That's
That's my
interesting.
answer.
Like,
No, I agree. I agree with you. I think it's true. I think we forget a lot of times how unique our own life experiences are. And I think it takes a little bit of entitlement in a whatever way it is, but entitlement to be like, oh yeah, my story is worth telling, but it is worth telling. Like, it absolutely is worth telling because you're the only person that can tell that story. As cliche as that is, it's so true.
yeah, yeah. You want to pick a question?
I don't know. People submit questions in the messages.
Yeah, give it a moment and it'll catch up.
I always feel like I need to get an eye exam when I'm doing these because these questions are so, like the text is
Dude,
so
I
tiny.
literally need to since I took off my glasses because
I'm like,
reflection. I'm like this. I'm like, what are you guys saying?
like
Basically.
inside of the camera.
Hmm.
Oh my god. Okay, somebody said how to get rid of accents. What do you think about accents?
Okay. Um, I, being the perfectionist that I am, I'm always worried about trying to sound better. Even though, if you think about it, it actually ultimately doesn't make a difference at a certain point. If you're able to communicate with people, they understand what you're saying, you're able to understand them, it doesn't matter. Like, really, fundamentally. On top of it, you have a very, not only like understandable, but very valid reason to have an accent. You're a foreigner. You learned a foreign language. So, but that being said, there is like I had to go through this personal crisis, learning French, where it was like, you know what? No matter what, because of the fact that I learned this language at 16, 17 years old, I'm going to have an accent. Like, I just cannot sound like a French person. I can sound like an American with a solid French, solid ability in French, a decent accent, I'd say. But I will always sound like a foreigner, and you
I
have to
like
accept
that.
it. You have to make it a part of who you are. And French people sometimes tell me, and I don't get it because I honestly think my American accent sounds dumb. But there's French people that tell me like, keep the accent. It adds to your charm. Like, it's part of who you are. So
And you're like, I can't not keep the accent, so I guess I will.
perfect. Yeah. No, I mean,
It
like, what do
works
you think?
out. I agree. I think your accent carries your story. Your accent is a reason to ask questions. Like, if you show up and you speak perfectly as far as like grammar and vocab, and you use the language in the correct way, but you have a little bit of an accent, that's more of a reason for somebody to be like, why do you speak that? And then that's an entry point into a potential friendship that you wouldn't have had if you didn't have an accent. So
It's sotaque in Portuguese, right?
sotaque, yeah, not to be confused with acento.
I know. I saw that. Yeah.
You're reading all my mistakes. I made
Yeah.
mistakes, so you don't have
Yeah.
to.
Sotaque. Okay, good. All right. I'm making progress.
I love it.
But I'm
Another
curious.
question?
Well, can I just follow this up on
Yeah.
do you struggle with your own accent with Portuguese in particular, considering,
Yeah.
your background?
So I'm making one of the videos that I'm like excited about is about being a third culture kid. And I interview a lot of my friends who grew up in between cultures. So a third culture kid is anybody who either was born in a country and kind of got removed from that country, grew up somewhere else, or like you have parents that were born somewhere else. So you have a third culture, which is that you don't really know what culture you're in. Like, are you American? Are you Argentinian? You're neither, because you're everything. So this is your third culture.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I talk about is like the embarrassment that third culture kids feel about their own accents in their mother tongue.
Yeah.
And how heavy that is. And like, yes, I have an accent when I speak in Portuguese, but I speak perfectly. Like, some people say that I have an accent, other people don't think I have one, and it's like you never know who you're gonna please. And at one point, it's just like, screw it, this is how I speak. I'm still a cool person regardless of having an accent. And if you have a problem that's that serious with my accent that you're not going to like me or not be friends with me, I don't want to be friends with you anyways. So it's like, you got to accept it.
Yeah.
But it is this, it's almost like embarrassment because you want to be able to feel 100%. Like, I want to be 100% Brazilian, but that's just not how my life played out. And I'm happy to not be one thing because I was able to be a bunch of different things. I think a lot of people struggle with it though, but acceptance is the only way to go because you can't fight it. It is what it is.
You gotta accept it, really, because otherwise, you know, what ends up happening is you're acting, kind of. You're pretending to be something that you're not, which is just not a recipe for success, in my opinion. And yeah, I mean, I definitely, I think I got lucky with Spanish though, because Argentinians have such a specific accent that only Argentinians can tell that I'm not an Argentinian. I think everybody else from all the other Spanish-speaking countries is like, oh, Argentinian. You know what I mean? Because it's such a distinct accent. So I got lucky, but yeah, there is definitely like you gotta, you know, accept it. Yeah, it's such an interesting topic for sure.
I love it. I kind of want to become a neuroscientist just so I can understand like language and how it functions in the brain.
That I should do a video.
I should do a video.
No, stop. This was my idea.
This is our idea. We should do a video.
That would be dope. That would be actually super sick.
That would be actually. Can we talk about that? Like the collaborative, like
we
like
should, but you know,
VO?
I definitely think. Well, we got something coming pretty soon here. But I generally speaking, I when I work with somebody, I want to do it in person. You know what I mean? Like I feel like we gotta. It'd be so much better to connect in person. You know what I mean?
So I'll see you next year. Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Oh God! Don't say that. Don't say that.
Okay. So what is another question? Is there a juicy question on your end that I
Okay,
can't see?
let's see if I can understand what this one is. Nós temos muitos sotaques. Depende. How would you say it like that? Depende.
Depende.
Depende da região.
Região.
Região. Oh, right. You're right. But I understood that. We got a lot of accents. Depends on where, you know, what region you live in. Oh.
Yep.
Oh. I got
Muito
to
bem,
work on
parabéns.
pronunciation. No, that was bad. Oh my gosh. Okay. Depende. Okay.
Depende. So my accent, o meu sotaque brasileiro é carioca.
Okay.
Do you know what carioca is?
Mine is americano.
Americano.
Oh, so this R is just so confusing.
The R gets confusing. Yeah, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that.
Yeah. Oh my God. Well, look, day 2. Okay, so just give me a few more days. Oh my God.
I'm excited that you're learning Portuguese. Then we can open that whole nother layer of friendship.
I'm so excited about it. I've come to realize I love Brazilian people, and I'm gonna sound like such a kiss ass right now. I'm blowing smoke up everybody's ass.
Tell me more. Sorry, my phone is gonna die. But
oh no! Oh, there you go.
Tell me more.
How much? Oh, really? Are you okay? Well, you let me know, because
yes,
last time I did this, I was speaking with Chloe. She is also a content creator, and her phone died, and that just ended the call. So, or not call, the live.
Okay, go ahead.
Wait, I don't even remember what I was saying. Oh yeah, no, just the Brazilian people, man. Not everybody, obviously, but generally speaking, like a lot of Brazilians are just fun-loving people. You know what I mean? And it's not a stereotype at all. Like, I don't know if it's like because of hardships or what, but Brazilians band together like no other nation, honestly, in my opinion. And you can guarantee that the party will get better if there are Brazilians present. Like, in fact, it's almost like Brazilians take it upon themselves to make sure the party's good, because it's almost like their fault if it isn't. I don't know if you get what I'm saying right now, but
well, it's crazy because I agree. But when you grow up in that culture, it's normal to you. Like when you grow up with Brazilians, you know,
not normal
like,
to me, a repressed American.
But it took me a while to understand. Like even so, a perfect example of it. Even though I was born I was born in Brazil, grew up in the States, right? I grew up away from Brazil and away from Brazilian culture, really. But my mom is very much Brazilian. We're all Brazilian. And we grew up in this bubble of like high energy. We're always like, we're very like energy focused and like good vibes. Like it's always been that. And so we grew up like that in our bubble, in our house. Years go on, my brother and sister, we all have our different groups of friends, and I'll hang out with my siblings' friends, and they'll be like, holy shit, I can tell you guys are related because you have the same energy. Like you got, and I'm like, it's not just me and my siblings, it's just a Brazilian thing. Like we come ready to like engage. We come ready to like have a good time. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really cool. And I honestly like, I don't know. I think the cool thing is when you have cool experiences with people of a certain nationality, it ends up coloring your perception of that country in many ways. You know, I have this like I've never even been to Brazil, but I have this like positive association with it that I don't have with a lot of other countries, simply because you know I haven't interacted necessarily with people from there or whatever. And what that always makes me think of is like, you know, I gotta be the best ambassador that I possibly can be of, in most cases, American, but in certain other cases, I guess Argentina or whatever, you know, um, especially with all the awful stereotypes that do exist about Americans that in many ways are justified. I mean, boy, you know, the U.S. is a
Boy.
country, it's a country with a lot of issues. We do a lot of things really well, I think, a lot of stuff not so well. And
Yeah.
so I don't know. I always think it's the responsibility of the individual to do their very best to show the best of their culture, without ignoring the bad side, of course, but being like essentially be a cool person, because that's contributing to multiculturalism and like cross-country connections. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a respect that you're giving to a nation and to a people when you're learning their language, because it's basically saying like, I respect you so hard, and I really am curious about this. This is like a huge reason why I learn languages, because even if I don't fully learn a language, like I travel a lot, so it's obviously impossible for me to go to Poland and speak Polish, but I will always make it a point to learn basic words.
Yeah.
Recently, I was in Japan and I started learning basic Japanese, and like I knew how to say like I'm allergic to shellfish, like kokakurui arerugides.
Perfect. Wait, what? Why?
Because I am allergic to shellfish.
Oh.
So, and every time, like actually no, I just wanted to say that. So every time I would go to a restaurant
to see how they react, like you know, like basically say you're allergic to everything that they usually make. I'm allergic to all sushi and ramen.
Oh god, that'd be so
salted.
sad. So, but my point in saying that is like, even going to Finland, like I learned Finnish, basic Finnish, because I'm like, I'm going into their world. I should show some respect. And then what you were saying, it's true. Like you're, whether you like it or not, you're an ambassador for everything that you carry. So for me, a lot of times I'm the first person of color these people are meeting. I'm the first woman who's traveling by herself. I'm the first Brazilian. I'm the first American. And so it's like, whatever they look at me as, I'm not usually that first person. So if I can show up and be like a cool person, respectable, talk a little bit in their language to show like I care and I'm curious, the world becomes a more accepting and excited place for international, you know, cross mingling.
Yeah, no, for sure. Faux show. You want to answer another question?
Yeah, this is fun.
Should I turn on the lights? I'm seeing. I should turn on the
in pitch dark.
It's just, okay, here's what happens. Watch, you'll see this. It makes me orange, like a certain somebody.
Oh, you're turning on the overhead lights.
Look, I'm orange now.
Okay, looks like you got a bad spray tan.
Yeah, I'm all about that bad spray tan.
It's not bad anymore. It's good. You're good.
All right. Whatever. I thought it was like more like cool and like dramatic and whatever, but whatever. Oh no, I still can't put my back on. You waiting for a question or should
Yes, I'm waiting. I'm like, you see me?
Okay. Well, let me see what I got up in this question bar. Let's see. Well, do we stay on the topic of languages or change it up?
We could change it up.
Okay, let's see. Let's see.
Speak languages. Okay, I just like parliamo un po' italiano.
Ok, dai.
Dai. Ok, no, ma tipo fa molto tempo che non ho parlato italiano.
Sai cosa? Stavo parlando l'italiano ieri sera.
Con chi?
Con un amico italiano che ho conosciuto in Italia. E mi sono detto, perché come ho detto prima, ho cominciato con il portoghese 2 giorni fa. E mi
Stavi
sono...
parlando portoghese?
No, 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 ma mi sono detto, wow, posso parlare facilmente l'italiano paragonato con il portoghese perché in questo momento non riesco a dire quasi nulla in portoghese.
Adesso.
Adesso, ecco, giorno numero 3, quindi dammi un po' di tempo, per favore.
Però dopo questa settimana starai perfetto, sarai brasiliano.
Ho le dita incrociate. Sì.
That's so cool. It's okay.
Yeah,
Which is
you're...
so weird. Like, si tu veux, on peut parler en français aussi parce que, like, rarement on le parle ensemble.
Now you're just flexing. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm like, y'all want to hear the languages? Like, what's up? But
I
what's so
know.
funny is, like, we don't speak these languages to each other in normal speak. Like, in, you know, like on a daily basis.
Yeah. Well, so wait, you're saying we do or we don't?
We don't. We'll put it in. Like, what's cool about having
Yeah.
friends that speak multiple languages is I could be telling him a story. Like, this happened right before this call. I was like, oh my God, like, that I got this French text that said,
Right, and you read it, right, exactly. You read it directly instead of translating it because you're going to get the exact meaning.
Yeah, which is so dope. Anyways.
Okay, how do you retain it? That's a good question. How do you retain a language? Like, what do you do to not get rusty?
So I used to have this rule that if I was watching anything on Netflix or anything in general, it had to be in a different language. That was just like a brain game for me. So it's like I can have a little bit of fun. Like I can watch a series, but it should be in a different language or it can be dubbed. So I still do that. Like I consume a lot of foreign shows and foreign movies on Netflix, and we have access to Netflix too, which is so beautiful because before you'd have to download some scammy VPNs, get your computer a virus just to like try to hack into like a French website. But so yeah,
No, but you know, if I may, like VPNs are actually really useful
they're
because
great.
if you
Yeah,
can pop into other countries, you actually have access to different stuff. So just throwing that in there.
that's a tip. And then also music. All of the things that I consume are in different languages, and so like all of my music, it's either French, it's Portuguese, it's Spanish. Like sometimes I'll listen to American music, but very rarely. I just believe in like making your world international, and then your friendships. Obviously, like we have a lot of friends that speak different languages, but you have the internet. You can find friends online.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, how do you do it?
No, I mean a lot. I definitely agree on all that. I will say that I think when you reach a really solid level on a certain language, and you stick with it for long enough, you retain it more easily as well. Like you'll get, I mean, I get rusty on stuff, but like I'm confident I'm never gonna lose my ability to speak Spanish or French unless I went like 5 years without speaking them or longer. I mean, I don't know. But there's that insecurity, I think, that comes up every now and again for sure. And whenever that happens, it's like, okay, maybe I can talk with somebody in the language, like just get my brain working or read something. You know, reading is actually amazing. You can go at your pace. You can look up words that you don't remember or that you're curious about or whatever. So I think reading is really cool. And then podcasts, man, podcasts. I'll throw a podcast on, even just background noise, like, and I'll hear stuff and whatever. I'll pick stuff up, and that's it's just like having access to it, you know.
Yeah. Do you? I think you do this too. So also another tip is it's super basic stuff, but like have a notebook for that language. So when I was learning Greek, I learned to like read and write and speak in Greek. Like I know how to order my coffee in Greek, and that's my test. Where are you going? He's grabbing his notebook. And so
Bam!
exactly. Let me see it.
Well, so these are lists. I tear out the pages. I have, but I'm just writing out the words, the basic words that I need to start speaking. So, you know,
Yeah.
mas, ainda,
So, and it's so
mais.
good because it's like, isn't it such a basic thought that, like, we as language learners, like, you always have a notebook. I
You
will watch
gotta write it
Netflix.
down.
I'll watch Netflix and I'll stop and rewind and write it down. Like I'll write down sentences that French people are saying because I'm like, oh, frérot, I didn't know that was slang for brother. Like now I know that. And now next time I speak to somebody who speaks French, I'll just like spice it in there. So have a notebook. And my theory is when you finish a notebook from cover to cover, you've already like advanced another level.
Totally.
So it's like my goal is to fill that book with everything that I find useful. And it works.
I mean, you honestly have to be a major pain in the ass. If you want to plug those holes and really expand the vocabulary, like, you know, I can tell the difference, unfortunately, between somebody who's experienced learning languages and somebody who has no idea what the hell they're doing. When I'll be talking with them, like it'll be like, maybe it'll be like somebody who's doing a semester in, let's say, okay, let's do a hypothetical situation. Somebody's doing a semester in France here, and we meet up or whatever, and they're learning French, and I maybe mention a word for something that I know is going to be useful for them. And they're like, oh, that's great. Oh, I'll remember that. You're not going to remember that.
Like, no, you
Write
won't.
it down. I have to write it down, and I have to reread it a bunch of times and absorb it and not lose it, because if you don't do that, another situation will come up in the future where the word will come up and you'll be like, I don't know what that means, and you're not making progress,
Don't you feel like there's also a special connection between handwriting it versus like typing it? Because
Oh.
I need to handwrite it. And even if I never look at that note again, I think the act of like literally spelling it out, like letter for letter, it helps my brain retain it more.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, that's what I did. I mean, that's why I did this. Okay, hold on. I'm going to show you. I shouldn't show too much of this. This is going to be in my video coming up. But
Spoiler, y'all get the teaser.
so I've been making lists of words, like literal lists, and just organizing. And then I make it look all nice on a spreadsheet, and then I'll rewrite it down again in lists, because that's part of my memorization process. Like, you gotta over and over again kind of review things. Oh, I don't remember what that one meant, or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just, you got it. There's no shortcut.
Well, the point is that it's a muscle. You're exercising a muscle. The same way people get ripped by going to the gym every day is the same way you become fluent in a language. There is no shortcut. There is no magic pill. The only thing you can really do is like try to create a world in which that language is being spoken to you, but you still need to do the work. You still need to like get hand cramps taking notes.
Yeah, no, for sure. Plus, you, big journaler, like.
Yeah, I journal, and I love handwriting. Like, I don't know, there's just, like, if I ever get arthritis, that's going to be the saddest. I'm going to have to learn how to write with my left hand.
Yeah, that makes me really sad.
I know.
I had like an emotional moment there. I was like, oh God.
We're going to get old?
No, it's just, well, getting old, yeah. But, I mean, just everything, the stuff that happens, like, it's a part of life, though. Like, developing, like, okay, you're saying arthritis, or like going bald, or whatever, like, all the ways that we kind of like lose our beauty. I guess it's easy for me to say this right now as a young person. You're young too. We're young. We're in our 20s.
I have white hairs, and I'm older than you.
Well, look, I mean, hey, look, I think I might have mentioned this before, but if my genetics had anything to say on the matter, a lot of men in my family, not everybody, but a lot of them have gone bald. So
it's coming.
What?
It's coming for you.
Yeah, there's a good likelihood it'll happen.
No, but I think you look like the person who could rock the bald head, because you're so smart that it's like, oh, clearly, like, he's so smart that his intelligence, like, burned his hair off.
Can you imagine me? I'd be like a white Gandhi.
Everybody, Nate would look good bald.
Oh my God. I'm not so, what are people saying? I'm
like,
not so sure.
Team Nathaniel Drew goes bald.
But at the end of the day, of course, I've had my private freakouts about this, like many, but I'm gonna eventually have to accept it if it's gonna happen. Maybe it won't. Maybe I'm making shit up right now, and I don't go bald until I'm 60 or whatever.
Yeah, but like, there's nothing more attractive than somebody who owns whatever's going on. So it's like, you gotta own it. You know what I'm saying?
Totally. Nate needs a haircut anyway. Damn.
See, now everybody's calling you Nate.
Shade in the comments, man.
I was the only person that called Nate. Now he's all of a sudden he's Nate.
I know. Nobody else calls me Nate. What the heck?
I'm starting a movement. Bald Nate.
Don't go bald, please. No. I'm just getting roasted right now.
Okay, so let's change the subject. How long have you been posting videos on the internet?
Well, I technically started in 2015, so we're in year 5.
Here's the craziest part, and I'm a big documentarian of my own life. Like, I've journaled. What's going on with the audio?
Oh, wait, can you still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but I can hear me too.
Oh,
Okay, anyways, it's
shoot.
better.
Okay.
So I'm like a documentarian for my own life. And, you know, like we're living in this age of the internet where you can go back and look at the cringe photos. And with us, we can look back and see how we were as little like baby creators. Like I will look at videos and I'm like, I have been doing this for so damn long that my face used to be a full ass like circle. Like I was like a round
That has
little
never
like,
changed for me.
but it's so cool. It's
Yeah.
like, wow, that means that in 10 years we'll look back and, you know, see this time and be like, wow, we were such little babies.
Oh, for sure. And us trying to drop wisdom and shit, and we're, looking back and be like, you knew nothing.
Yeah, like shut up.
I'm trying to see, what are people saying?
7 years I've watched. Damn, yeah. I've like, and you know, the good news is I'm like excited because every year I'm like, oh yeah, okay, it got better. Like it keeps getting a little bit better, you know?
Yeah, no, for sure. It's totally an iterative process, and I think you just gotta put in the thousands of hours. I mean, honestly, yeah. There's really just, I don't think there's a shortcut. I don't think so. I mean, you can learn from the pros and whatnot, but if you're not out there sweating and like and screwing up, I really want to. Oh man, I've been procrastinating so badly on this because I've been busy with other stuff. But see, that's always the excuse. But I really want to just like, I want to be making music, and
What? I've never heard this.
yeah, I know. Hey, what? Like, why not? But I really want to be making music, but I know I'm gonna. I mean, I've played instruments when I was a kid. And
Me
like,
too. What'd you play?
well, I played piano for a few years, and then I did electric bass.
I always wanted to play the bass. I play the violin and
Yeah,
then the alto sax.
but you know what the joke is with bass players? They're
What?
they're the member of the band that gets the least attention. Because you're just like in the background. I mean, the bass is important, but it's like the guitarist and the piano. It's like they get all the attention.
So then you stopped, clearly.
Yeah. So I did that for a few years. I also did like I was a theater kid, so I did like I did like musicals and whatnot. So I know I have some ability, but I also know that if I just start making music right now, it's gonna suck ass. Like, it's
But
not
you
gonna
know
be
the
good.
process. It needs
Exactly.
to suck ass.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. Like, we're talking like, oh yeah, you got to put in the time and like you'll get there. Like, I don't think that ever changes for any of us ever. For
For
every time
anything.
you start something new. Yeah, exactly. So anyway, I know I just got to start making music, and I got to do the Kanye West approach. I think he said he would do like 5 beats a day. So
Let me ask you a question. How many hours do you spend working on your channel and your work?
it's like 90% of my time, I feel like.
Like, walk me through a schedule. You wake up at what time and what time do you go to bed?
So the schedule, I mean, it's been so obliterated over and over again every time I change countries. But, it's especially during this quarantine period, what's been tricky is that I've been trying to stay busy with doing creative projects to keep myself occupied because I can't go out. But the problem is, it's like if you don't vary things up, you'll burn yourself out. And that's what I was starting to really feel, you know? So in terms of schedule, I mean, I think we're similar, if I'm not mistaken, which is like you get up, I'll do a little morning routine or whatever, a little meditation, drink coffee, like journal a little bit. But then it's diving into it, really, unless I'm procrastinating badly, or maybe I'll go on a run or whatever. But it's like, then I have like the next 12 hours to fill, basically. So it's searching up music, it's scripting things out, it's working on, creating new content for Patreon. It's like this whole, and that's why I'm actually interested in doing other stuff. Like I've mentioned being interested in writing a book. Now I'm mentioning making music. It's like, I think doing other art forms. That's why sometimes I'll paint on here. It's like it feeds itself, and it keeps that creativity fresh, because you can't do the same thing all the time and be fresh. You just can't.
Yeah.
Picasso, I always mention him. Like, he just made so much incredible art, and like he wasn't just a painter. I don't know if you knew this. he made over 50,000 works in his entire life, which is like ridiculous.
That's a lot of
I
art.
think it's an average of like 1 or 2 a day. And he was also an extremely prolific like sculptor, and he worked with a bunch of mediums. And I really think that's like a key to success. Like, you definitely got to stick with something for sure, but don't in the long term, it's good not to be a one-trick pony. Like.
Well, it's good to revitalize your brain and like your free imagination, because if you get into the box and it just becomes a job and then nobody enjoys that, it's not exactly
For sure.
creating innovation.
How do you
Stay fresh?
Yeah, stay fresh. How do you vary it up, especially during this period where options are more limited?
Yeah, it's a weird time. In a good way, though. I've been more creative now than I've been ever, I think. Just because I am starting a whole new channel, I'm starting from scratch. I have this like room to play. And I always had that opportunity. I just never looked at it that way. I think the first step is shifting the perspective that everything you do has to be perfect. It's not going to be perfect. It's going to be shitty. Like when you first start anything, it's going to be shitty. So I'm like embracing that. And then as far as like creativity, I journal all the time and I've always done that. And so starting the journal club on my Instagram stories has been really dope.
Yeah.
Because every morning that's what I do now. And I don't look at it as work. I'll like hop on Instagram stories, either write a prompt for everybody to write with me, or I'll take the submitted prompts. And it's really cool to have other people, to have
so
the
cool.
community give us prompts. Because then it's like, oh shit, I wouldn't have thought of that.
Yeah.
So then that kind of sparks like a thought of the day. And then I sit with coffee and journal. And a lot of what I've been doing is, yes, I get on the computer and I work for 12 hours, but I read a lot. And I read different kinds of books. Like I read a lot of books on the productive stuff. Like, oh yeah, here's how you manage your finances. But recently I've been reading like travel books. I'm reading Giovanni's Room right now by James Baldwin. I'm reading this book about
That's
writing
awesome.
called Bird by Bird. I sent you that excerpt about perfectionism.
Yeah. Oh, so that's what that's from? Hey, by the way, wasn't your phone going to die? Are you
20%. We still got like 15%.
Oh, all right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm reading
I'm like
this book about
stressing
writing.
for you. Yeah. I don't
I'm
want
living
you
on
to
the
just
edge. Living on the edge over here. Yeah, so I definitely want to like make more time to just like do stuff. I also paint, like I watercolor on my iPad. Like that's some fun.
Oh, that's cool.
Here's the thing that I think is key. You shouldn't only do things that have success metrics attached.
Oh my God, yes. And by
Right?
the way, that should be self-imposed, not just likes and subscribers and followers and all that, but stuff that you do to like with no intention to make money. Like, you know what I mean? That's the danger, I think, of the obsession with side hustles that we have now. Like, there's no more hobbies, like it's gotta be a side hustle. It's gotta turn into a business. And I know we both struggle with this a little bit because we got that kind of entrepreneur sort of like, hey, we could turn this into something, mindset, especially if you're gonna commit time and energy to it. But sometimes it's good to just do stuff with that freedom, and you're just like, you know what, I'm gonna just do this, and right?
It's so nice. It's like a breath of fresh air for yourself. Yeah, hobbies. I think hobbies, 2020, let's all come out of it with new hobbies.
Oh my God. If honestly, look, quarantine's still going on here, but hopefully we're on the other side of the worst part. I mean, I don't know how long, I honestly don't know what the timeline is, but if there's people that come out of this whole like confinement period,
You say it, confinement,
quarantine. Yeah. This whole quarantine period, okay, stay at home period, without hobbies of any kind, man, there's a bigger issue at play here. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like if you're forced to spend 2 months at home and you can't figure out ways to develop new interests and whatnot, you can't blame it on anybody else at that point. I'm not sure anybody's having this problem, but
I just feel like it's like a gift to yourself. Like it shouldn't even be this pressure. It should just be like, I want to do this. I'm going to do it. Like the work will get done like life will go on, but I'm gonna carve out this little chunk of time for myself because like I deserve it. I think that's what's missing, and maybe
Yeah.
this is the time to reflect on that because we used to just be go go go. What I've noticed in this time is that like I had to check myself. I used to be so willing to do everything with everyone all the time, and it would always eat into time that I would spend with myself. And this is coming from somebody who loves to solo travel. I love going out to restaurants and eating alone. And even with that, I was still like, I would rather kind of like distract myself with friends and have a good time. And I was always appreciative of that time. But now, because I don't have that, I was like sitting down with all my ideas, thinking like, damn, I've had these ideas for years. Why is it just now that I'm finally like doing them? Or why is
Yeah.
it just now that I'm taking that time for myself? So it's a cool time. I mean, it's like a really tough time, but it is, if you look at it like, oh, I can give myself some new hobby or some new passion, I think you'll come out of it with a lot.
Yeah, and I just want to clarify something because I'm seeing some of the comments here. It's like it's not about being more productive and like doing more shit all the time. Okay, there's definitely times where I'm just a little. I said this before. I'm a turtle. Like I'm slow. I'm like tired. I'm just some days are like that, and you're not this machine. And that doesn't mean you have to fill all your time with hobbies and things. Like I did this video recently on boredom. Sometimes it's good to not fill every second of your day, right? And
Yeah.
sometimes you don't have a desire to do stuff, and that's fine too. Like that's the issue I kind of have with capitalism. It's like this idea that you gotta maximize all the time, and it's like, you know, I guess there's arguments on both sides, but at the end of the day, there's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure, and it's okay to not do stuff all the time. But I think the distinction we're making right here is it's also good to do stuff that's not for a financial benefit or profit or whatever, to have that space. Like you have to have space for all these different things, I think. And if you're too focused on just one, that's where things get a little bit out of whack. I mean, I'll tell you, last year, I was so focused on work, on getting my channel off the ground, and creating a lot of content, and essentially making a living with this because I wasn't at that time, and I was afraid I'd run out of money. Um, like that is okay for a while, but it went on. Just that unique focus on just that went on for too long, and I started to feel kind of not. I don't want to say burned out, but getting there, like wearing down. And that's why I think it's so important to have space for these other things we're talking about. Space to do stuff that's not for money, and space to not do stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and that's hard too, because it's like I feel bad, or I'll bash myself for not producing or creating or whatever, or having a day where I feel like I didn't accomplish anything. But you know what? That's like 100 million% okay and human. Like,
Yeah.
and we forget about that. And I know more and more we're trying to remind ourselves of that. I see a lot of people posting that on social media, and that's cool, but we're really gotta, and I guess by we, I'm saying I really gotta like absorb. I need to understand that, not just conceptually,
Right.
because it's so important for well-being and for my happiness as a human, as a person,
Yeah. I mean, I told you that if I wake up and don't feel like doing anything, I deem it a Sunday. Like, it's a Sunday, and it's like maybe it's a Tuesday. Like, it's a Sunday now.
Yeah. Yeah. No, for sure.
Okay,
Do
my
you want
phone
to?
is that.
It's about to die.
I have
Yeah.
8%.
Oh my God. Okay. How do we do this? One more question, couple more questions, like.
Do a few more questions. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Do I pick one or?
You can go ahead because I can't. It's like
Yeah.
you have the proper questions.
Faux show. Faux show. Okay. Let's see. Man, we got a lot. Holy smoking ollie. I'm trying to see. Does. Uh, mm, mm, mm. This is like, this live got so boring all of a sudden. I'm just
Like, you're just
I
over
just
there
don't want to
making.
read them out loud because, it's like you can't read a question and then not answer it. You feel me?
Yeah, yeah, I feel you.
I got a couple questions on you solo traveling. and I'm kind of curious about that. I mean, we've both done a fair amount of solo travel, right? Somebody was asking safest country to travel, especially alone as a woman. Um, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Japan ranks pretty high. Um, but I mean, I don't know. What's your experience been like?
Safety and traveling alone as a woman.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Well,
think any place can be. I mean, no, this is. It's hard to talk about this because there are dangerous places in every country and every city. It's just like you walk down the wrong block. You could be in New York City or you could be in LA. You could be, like in Paris, and there are sketchy places. So I think for a solo traveler in general, whether a woman or not, but then specifically as a woman, what's smart is if you kind of go in with a community if you're nervous about it. So like sign up for a retreat or go in with a group because you show up alone, but you never leave just being alone. Like I think the beautiful thing about solo travel is you make more friends that way, right?
well, you really got to make an effort because I think what I discovered was when I was doing, it wasn't quite backpacking, but I was hopping around a lot. And solo travel can be actually incredibly lonely if you're not careful. Like if you're always on the move, um, and if you're kind of more of an introvert, I'd say, and you're looking for more of like a deeper connection, like not just small talk or whatever, then you really got to stay put somewhere for longer. I found.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, and I think that you could do so many different things. What I always do is like I'll either Tinder passport over to the place before
See,
I
I
get
can't do
there.
that. Tinder,
I'll like match with some people on dating apps before I show up, and then like I
yeah,
have had a cool exchange with them before, so I know that they're good people, and then I'll meet them in a public place before I go. Like for New Year's, I went to New Zealand by myself, and I did this like yoga and meditation retreat, and
yeah,
that was super cool.
that
So
is
there are
super cool.
tricks of the trade. Like you don't ever really need to be alone.
Yeah,
But I know a lot of people wait for their friends and family to go on trips, and they wait their whole life because a lot of times those friends just don't want to go. So I don't think you should wait for like all of your friends to decide to go, but I think that there's a way to create a community before you even arrive so you don't feel alone when you get there.
yeah, it's definitely a tricky one, but I think you're such a great example of somebody who didn't let that stop you. You know.
You
Um,
know what another great way to do it is, and you've done this too, is host families. Is look for a host family, and there are
yes.
programs like language learning classes. So a lot of times before I go anywhere, I'm like, what language do I want to learn? So in Greece, for instance, I contacted a Greek language school so that I would go to class. So I would meet people in that school. And that's an entry point right there. And
For
sometimes I'll
sure.
live with Italian host families or French homestays. So yeah, just do your Googling.
Yeah, I will say the homestay thing can be amazing or a disaster. Okay.
Yup.
And I've had both of those experiences, and it is a roll of the dice. And I would definitely say if you're going someplace longer term, I actually don't recommend the homestay
Longer term
option.
for sure, no. Yeah, I think it's like a
Because
week
if you're in a
max.
bad situation, then it's like, but I think short term it could be super dope. Like if you're gonna go spend a week or whatever. Like I think woofing too. I've never done that, but going to work with, going to work on a farm or whatever. Like you cannot get a more immersive experience than that. Um, so
Yeah, yeah, it is. It's exciting though. Like you have options. I'm like sitting here reminiscing about when I used to travel. I'm like,
yeah, that's honestly, God, that is, you know, I'm so glad that I did not go down the route of buying a car. You know, I know this is a little bit of a controversial point, but my choices are not going to college, not putting money towards things, buying stuff. I've never owned a lot of stuff, um, and putting it towards going places or whatever, which by the way can be very affordable. I mean, I don't know what it's going to be like after this whole Corona mess, but um, travel has never been more affordable. And you know, it technically, yeah, you walk away with nothing tangible. I don't have stuff, but you have these memories that you can always think back on. It's amazing, and it's just like I really think I, some writer probably said this. I'm certain some writer said this that everybody, or maybe you quoted this too. Somebody said this that everybody should have the chance to live and spend time in another country. You know, and if that's not possible, okay, for whatever reason, you can spend time in another country by learning that language. I mean, to just go full circle there. You know what I mean? Like, you really can uh, travel, like intellectually travel by connecting with a group of people based on how they speak, you know, and the art that they create and everything. Um, so I don't know. What do you think of that?
I
Like,
agree. I agree. I mean, I don't think either of us will ever look at the world as mono. It's not. It's like we're looking at the
yeah.
world in a different way. And the more
Don't you
you
think
see,
so many problems would be solved with politics and uh, just a lot of the challenges that we face right now if more people had that kind of like
ability to travel and desire and like just to do it.
it's not just travel. It's because it's not just like tourism. It's not like going to a resort. It's like connecting. You know, I think connecting is what helps develop compassion and empathy. Like, I think a lot of politicians don't ever have those experiences, and that's why they're able to. You know, that's why they make the decisions that they make. You know, there's no consideration. It's we kind of dehumanize other groups of people. They're other groups of people. You know, and they're not we're not all sort of sharing the same place, Earth. So I don't know. That obviously I don't want to get too like I don't know, like looking at everything through rose-colored glasses because you know there's people that say like we shouldn't have borders. We should just get rid of all borders. The chaos, the absolute chaos that would happen if that happened by tomorrow. You know, I understand that we have tribalism and whatnot, but it's just like you know I don't know. Am I just rambling at this
No,
point?
no, no. I agree. I think you said it best. And there is like a disgusting stat. There was a stat that I saw a few years ago that said like more than 50% of the U.S. senators don't have their passports. Like
Oh
they don't even
my.
have their passports. I want to look it up to see what it accurately is now. And also, like, if I could go into the government and reform, like, maybe go into the UN and be like, it is mandatory for everybody on Earth to have an exchange and go somewhere else.
But okay. So if that's not financially possible, because obviously there's serious problems with poverty, doing some kind of exchange again with language or like you know like I don't like I've seen classrooms in you know where like I saw I think it was a video about how India and Pakistan, you know, how they have their tensions, and there's classrooms that will do video calls together, and there's like nothing more heartwarming, in my opinion, than seeing that kind of thing, because maybe they don't have the ability to travel and see, you know, the other side, but that is still traveling in a certain sense, you know, like, yes, I agree.
And here we are in Paris and New York, and my phone's about to die.
Okay, what is it at?
6%.
Oh my God, living on the edge.
But we should stop it just in case, because I think if I turn it off, you won't be able to save it. And I see a bunch of people who want to save it.
Yeah. For sure. Well, I'll just say this. It was super awesome chatting with you.
Always, man. Just give me a call after this. We'll just keep it going.
Yeah, for sure. And thanks to everybody who popped in here to watch us chat, essentially. And hopefully we answered some of your questions. You know, if any of you guys do not know who Jo is, definitely check her out. I mean, she's super cool, and you know, you've done a lot of videos in your in your life. But
600.
Crazy. She just recently has, you know, she recently launched, I suppose, her own channel. So check it out. You know, check it out if you're interested. If you're looking for more content creators on languages, I mean,
and
cream of the crop.
Nathaniel Drew, my good old friend Nate. Love this guy. I'm really excited for this video that you're making. So everybody stay tuned.
I'm nervous.
It's gonna be big. Like this video, just everybody take a look at his subscribers before he posts it and after, because it's gonna be a jump.
Oh
Povo brasileiro, vocês não estão preparados.
Oh my God. Estou nervoso.
He's gonna, oh my God, he's gonna hit 1 million because of the Brazilians. Gente,
no.
Que coisa boa.
No, stop. Can you imagine I post it and I lose all my subscribers because they're like, what is this? What is this?
It's okay.
Speaking some language none of us can understand, not even Portuguese.
Do you remember when you were yelling at me saying that if I posted a video in Finnish, you would give me like $1 million because you didn't think I would get Finnish subscribers? I was like so convinced that if I posted a video Learning Finnish.
Because how many people speak Finnish in the world?
I like Finnish, okay? Like,
Yeah,
I
it's
just want to do it
fine,
for
but whatever. You're like,
passion.
oh man, I gotta get subscribers on my channel. Like, you know, I'm gonna do a Finnish video, dude. It's not the place to start.
Okay, fine. I'll make videos in Portuguese too. Brazuca. Okay, let's go.
Okay. Well,
Back to
anyway,
work.
I'm gonna end this because I'm stressing now for your phone. I'll save the live. Thanks to everybody who tuned in. I'm out of
Thanks,
here.
y'all. Bye. Ciao.